Alright, so welcome to my 70s, I want to say dungeon. We'll call it a retro room, but it's a little dated, but that's alright. So today we're going to talk about, we talk about 8-tracks. They kind of have slipped through the cracks a little bit. So let's begin. Alright, we'll start with this Black Sabbath here. So what you're seeing here is it's about a 1/4-inch tape. And along the tape here, I'm going to be gentle because these are fragile and this thing is 50 years old, so we're going to be careful with it now, folks. All right, let's gently withdraw the tape. Alright, so it's magnetic tape. It's kind of like a cassette, but this is twice as wide as a cassette, alright? And what they do is they have 4 different channels, basically, and there's a head reader in the 8-track, and it shifts up and down when it clicks from track to track. It's really 4 tracks. They're called 8 tracks, but they're 4 tracks, and then it's 2 channels to give you the stereo sound, but it's really 4 tracks here. So this is 1/4-inch tape, and each track would then be about a 1/16 of an inch wide, and the head reader shifts up and down. And so when you hit the selector button and shift tracks, it shifts its way up or down along the tape here. Now, you get about 10 minutes. There's about 10 minutes, so times 4, you get about 40 minutes. So it's like a standard album length. They can make the spool bigger and get more. I believe these also turn, not only is it twice as thick as a cassette, it also turns twice as fast. So theoretically, it should have higher quality. A cassette, I think, is 1 7/8 inches per second that it feeds through. This is 3 3/4, so it's a little bit different. It turns just a little twice as fast, but that's could potentially give it a little bit higher quality, but it doesn't seem to work out that way because there's a lot of moving parts. At some point I'll crack one of these open. I'll get an older one, crack it open. You can see what it looks like. You know, do the math. 10 minutes. You know, so 10 minutes times 60 seconds per minute. You got 600 seconds. Each second turns 3 3/4 inches. So, you're looking at maybe around 1900 inches at least in one of these. So there's actually quite a bit of tape in here. These were kind of expensive to manufacture as a result. But they also have a lot of parts that can kind of move and also go wrong. But so one of the things about these that's kind of curious, this is a little trick people don't know, but you pull how do you reel this back in? I mean, the spool's here. There's 2 spools. There's the winder spool and then the one that it feeds from. So how do you get it back in? Well, you can just actually get a little bit of pressure on it, and if you get the reel started, the reciprocating reel will pull it in. So feeds it right back. You want to be careful with them, of course. One of the things that wears out, I'll tell you about 8 tracks real quick that goes wrong with them as well, is that you see under here, the head reader is going to push against this part of the tape, and right here, there's, I don't know if you can quite make it out, but there's some foam backing in there that the tape rubs against so that it can have good contact. That tends to wear out. If your tape's not playing, that's actually a pretty common thing. It's easy to fix. You can just get some, rubber stripping or whatever you want. You actually don't even necessarily need it there, but it'll last longer if you have that there. But that's one of the first parts that goes on 8 tracks that was cheaply made, and you can replace it. So let's fire one of these up and see how it does, right? So it's almost like looking at an old Nintendo or something. You just stick it right in. So I'm going to turn on the receiver. I'm going to put it on tape setting. I think I'm even hooked up to the graphic equalizer. Why not? So this is brand is this one? This is an 8-track. I think this is Sound Design. I want to say that's an RCA, one of their brands. I'm not exactly sure, but let's give it a listen. Now, what you're going to notice too, especially as they get older and the quality diminishes, is that the head reader won't get sharply within one of the tracks. You'll start to hear the other track mixing in a little bit, and so that's where people used to use, typically you'd use like a matchbook to kind of wedge the tape a little higher so you can adjust the height to match the head reader. This one, even though it's a cheap unit, it actually still works. It's got to be at least, I don't know, probably 50 years old. So we'll fire it up. We're on track 2. Maybe we will fire it up, maybe we won't. Let's figure out, let's troubleshoot this for a second here. Alright, so it's definitely playing, it's definitely turning. Tape 1, nope. Alright, there we go. Something's coming through. There we are. Had to turn on the graphic equalizer. Alright. So it's fairly distorted. So I'm going to turn the bass down and the treble up a little bit. So you can see they fell out of favor. Not many people collect them. I just got them free over the years. I've always liked them. I think they're just kind of, they're sort of a neat little relic. So here's the selector button. Now we're on track 3. Let's enjoy the drum solo. Good. Come on, take me there. It's got a real rough sound to it. So it's actually not that bad. I mean, no, it's not for an audiophile, but it's tolerable. So we can explore these more another time. I'll crack one of these open for you at some point. I don't want to do it for a good one. No offense, but I'll save it for. I'll use one of my, like, I don't know. I'll use a Pat Boone Christmas album or something. I don't know. But the way these work, actually, they're even kind of interesting because there are little pins here that if you press down, you just get like a screwdriver, a jeweler's screwdriver, and you just press down on them and the box opens. Now you want to make sure you open it the right way because the spools are held by gravity in place. Open it the wrong way, they tumble to the ground. Good luck. So that's sort of your 8 tracks. We can go into the history a little bit too. I mean, they were popularized originally because they could be put into cars. I think I want to say that Mustangs, and then once sort of the infrastructure was there, they manufactured them. Other car companies followed suit, and it just was sort of strange because the cassette was considered at the time to be superior technology. It used half as much tape, and maybe even less than that. The tape was narrower, and you didn't need as much length. But they enjoyed a 10-year reign. It's a little piece of 70s nostalgia and Americana. You know, if you're lucky, you can pick up a working 8-track player. This one works. A lot of times they came as components. This one worked briefly, and it doesn't, but I don't want to take it apart because I like the receiver. Got another 8-track here, and I can even show you what the car 8-track players were like too if you want. But we'll save that for the next time.